And here we go. Welcome to episode 26 of our priority campaign, and we will be soon leaping into action with the players that we have here, which is Mug, our newly magical fighting dwarf, our man with a gun, Silas. Whenever there's a smoking pistol to be found, it's usually his. And last but very much not least, the quiet and deadly Whisp. So, where we last found our crew, they had discovered, almost by accident, the location of the flotilla that they were tracking that had belonged to the invaders of Freeport. They were quickly engaged by an enemy frigate, so a much larger vessel than the one they're currently on, but they have both outmaneuvered and outgunned it before engaging with grappling hooks and pulling the vessels side by side to try and storm aboard. The moment we will enter our story with is right at that moment. With the clashing of hulls, with the war cries of armed soldiers and sailors on the enemy frigate, bloodied and angry at the attack, and with your own crew rushing to arms and starting to storm across onto the enemy ship. So, out of the three of you, who will be the first to leap across onto the enemy vessel?
Silas will stay behind.
Silas will stay behind.
Yeah, he's very
Mug.
much still enjoying his cannon.
I'm very sure. I'm very sure it'll be Mug.
Yeah. Somehow that doesn't surprise me at all.
So,
Yeah, I think Mug is going to be running at them. Ooh, I don't remember. Am I using a gun or am I using a?
from memory, Mug, you have on you, since you never leave anywhere without your weapons anyway, a
Why should
two-handed maul, so a giant hammer that's wielded with both
Yeah.
hands, and you were carrying a pistol that
But
was
you learned how to reload.
I
that's
think I did, didn't I?
yes.
Yeah, he specifically taught you that.
Silas did
Yeah.
spend time teaching you how to reload your weapon faster.
Yeah. Okay.
So to
yeah.
I'd say, to the surprise of most of the crew, the person with the shortest legs, that being Mug, has rushed across and is the first to leap across onto the enemy vessel.
So did the enemy attack? I think it was the enemy attacking us, and not us attacking the enemy.
It
Right?
is a
And
mix. There are some of them that have leapt across onto your ship, and many are following your example and leaping across onto theirs. It is effectively a mixed brawl
On both ships.
on both ships.
Yeah, let's get these fuckers, people.
So with that, I'll get you to roll initiative. Just so I can keep track of what you're all going to be up to.
Yeah, I can't remember my stats. Oh,
Isn't that where you have the sheet?
I know, but I don't know where the cheat is.
I have your level 4 sheet.
Oh, it should be level 5 now,
Yep.
right?
Let me just... So it's plus your dex.
Wait, no, I used accuracy instead of dex to add to that.
Yes,
Oops.
it is
let
dex.
Let me edit my number.
If you didn't increase your dexterity, it should be a +2 on your initiative roll.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, I think I will try to find my sheet. I might be able.
Yeah, just double check in case you did increase that stat on the last level. In the meantime, I need to find some stuff myself, which I sillily didn't pick up.
Done. Think it's
There we go.
no, but it's not on the draw. Where did I save it? Is it in doc? I saved it somewhere.
Right. So we have a 16 from Whisp and a 18 from Silas.
Yeah.
And
Just go ahead with what we have for now.
yeah, just do so a +2 for your roll for mug.
Yeah,
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
And
Bless ya.
again.
Bless you.
Oops, that's the wrong one. 15 that. So that means Mug, you've got a 6, a 3, a 1, so 10 plus 2, so 12. Right.
Yeah, that's fine. Fair enough.
Yep. And yep.
No, I hadn't updated it. Ah. Okay. I think
So-
I found it. Yeah, I have my level 5 sheet now.
Oh, good. Just tell me what your dexterity bonus is, and I'll just double check if I buff you by 1.
It's 2. It's
Okay,
2.
yep, so we did get it correct. Based on that, 3, 4, turn on a 5. Whoops, 5 goes out, and 6 goes out. Rightio. And one more roll. And that oops. Right. So first up, we have Edric. As everyone leaps into a mass of melee and some of the soldiers storm onto the ship, Edric, you go first.
I'm still standing at my cannon, which was loaded. I can't hear Mug anymore.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Nope, it's showing that you're permanently talking at the moment, Mug. Let me...
Mug can also not hear us. Hello? Testing, testing.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you as well.
Awesome.
Can we?
Good. Alright. Yeah, I can hear you now finally, but I was not able to hear you for a moment there.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we luckily we solved that. Can we still hear Wisp?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure that we have everybody before we continue.
That is good.
Would be so mean solving it for Mug and then just ignoring that Wisp might no longer be
Aw.
heard. Okay, so I'm still standing at my cannon.
You are still standing at a cannon at present.
Talking about being mean, this cannon is still loaded.
Yep.
Oh no.
I'm gonna look at the guy on their ship who looks most imposing.
Yep.
I'm gonna turn my cannon there. And I'm gonna aim for his chest.
Go for it. So you scan through the soldiers that are rushing towards your vessel or engaging your fellow sailors, and you see that there is a group of heavily armored soldiers, similar to the ones that you first fought back in Freeport.
Ah.
They have heavy armor, they are extremely tough looking, and they are fighting hard.
Are they anywhere near like the edge of the ship?
They're a lot slower, so they have just come up on deck. So they're on the center line of the ship as they've been coming out of hatches.
Oh, okay. In that case, I'm gonna aim for like the biggest, baddest looking one.
Yep.
So I just got 6 stunt points.
All right.
This is accuracy, right?
It is accuracy. At disadvantage.
Oh yeah.
For
6 stun points.
so just double check.
Yeah, I lost my 6 stunt points.
Yep.
I traded them for 5 stunt points.
That's all right.
Plus 5 is 16 to hit.
That is a hit.
Yeah. And then how much? Oh, 5 stunt points. How would I use those? I'm gonna not be able to do a lightning attack, I reckon.
Not on a cannon, no.
I'm gonna lethal blow.
Go for it.
Oh no, wait, they looked heavy armed, right?
They had heavy armor, yes. So heavy plate armor. You're using a cannon, so
I was tempted to use mighty blow,
yep.
disarm because I can use that ranged,
Yep.
and also pierce armor.
Okay. Roll your damage, and I will explain what happens with this attack.
How many was a cannon?
10 d6.
10 d6s, and I add a d6 because I'm using mighty blow as well.
Yep.
The enemy.
I'm gonna say is slower than you, by the way.
Ooh, I'm gonna add a d6 then for pierce armor. Or not pierce armor. Pinpoint.
Yep.
And I'd also like you to make an opposed attack roll.
Yep.
And if he beats my 16, he can keep his weapon.
I'm gonna just say that he's also doing that at disadvantage.
Because it's a cannonball.
So he most definitely did not.
Okay. Then you can roll 1d6 to see how far away I sling the cannon. In the meantime, I'm doing math.
3. And I'm going to double that with another dice. So 5, 6, yeah, 8. So his weapon's gone effectively 8 meters away from him. But I will describe the hit based on the hit points you do.
Okay. Now let me quickly type this into my calculator as well.
Fair enough.
29 hit points of damage.
Rightio. So, what you've just gone and done,
Yep.
You've aimed your shot at this massive and burly armored warrior who is fighting your crewmates, and right as he's raised his arm to swing a blow at, potentially a death blow at one of your fellow sailors, you fired this cannon, which has hit him clean in the shoulder joint, ripping completely through him and separating his arm from his body.
Bye-bye.
He is currently sprawled out on the deck. There is blood absolutely everywhere. The sailor in front of him is absolutely red.
I'm so glad I'm far away from them.
And the arm is still clutching his weapon, and it is spinning across the deck.
So I used the ultimate disarming then.
There is not much left of that warrior, and he is most definitely not still fighting.
Nice. I'd like to choke back some...
Yep.
And then I'm gonna put that helmet on that I have,
Yep.
like the big steampunk Spartan helmet with a skull on the face.
Yep.
I'm gonna pull out my pistols, 2 of them.
Yep.
I'm gonna casually hop across to the other ship,
Yep. So
and
you
that's
can.
what I'll end my turn because I probably don't have a chance to like actually do any actions again because I already
Yeah. No,
cannonballed.
you
So
started with your actions. So yep, you can do that.
awesome.
So that brings us up to the second person, which is Wisp.
I'm just gonna shoot the nearest enemy to me, so
Yep. So are you staying on the Cirrus or have you boarded across? So you found yourself a position on the Cirrus, and you're now aiming at a sailor that has just leapt across onto the Cirrus.
cool.
So I'll get you to roll an attack.
Yep, just a second.
All good.
How close together are the ships, but
They are pretty much now side by
way.
side. Just the way that the maneuver got pulled off, you swung around the back end of the frigate and then slammed into its side. So Bhajiri is still up on the captain's deck, and he is keeping the two vessels sort of grinding against each other.
Oh, okay. Ooh, 15.
That is a hit. So I will get you to roll your damage.
Murder the fucker.
There goes one of my dice.
Also, I will say that you were faster than this one. So you will get 1d6 for your pinpoint.
Yep. 15 again. Oh, actually 16 because I get to add one on.
Ooh.
Yep. Let me just double check something quickly as well, because you are that. So did you want to use your special ability, by the way, as well? The
Ooh,
mark for
special
death.
ability.
Wait,
Sure.
the mark for death? That sounds epic.
We don't know about this.
So you'll get a +1 damage as well.
2.
Yep.
Because Wisp looks like completely innocent, and then suddenly Wisp is putting a mark of death on someone.
Right.
Damn.
So let me just double check the hit points of these fellas, and they're running around with that.
Actually, wait.
Let's go behave. 18.
Do I add accuracy and bow and all that to it as well?
You add perception to your damage. So accuracy is to hit, and perception is to your damage.
Oh, I've never done that.
Oh.
So many then.
You've been nerfing yourself quite a lot then. Damn.
Okay, then.
That explains a little bit.
And then I also have proficiency in bow, so that's...
So proficiency means that you can use it without a negative. If you're not proficient in a weapon, you take, I think, a -3.
Right, okay, so just 20 then.
Yeah, so 20 damage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Rightio.
Okay.
All things considered, this sailor has just leapt across onto this ship, and your crossbow bolt literally slams into his guts, and he doubles over, clutching at it, and staggers forward. He's still on his feet, but he does not look in any way, shape, or form like he's going to be fighting very much.
Oh.
That sounds good.
Don't feel bad for it.
Don't feel bad. He's kind of the guy trying to murder you at this point.
Yeah, don't feel bad for them. They're enemies.
At this stage, a stiff wind looks like it could blow him over. So next up, we have first that one.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there are some people beating you to the punch, unfortunately, Mug. But that's all right. You get to punch them after.
Yes.
Just make sure that you punch harder and you still win.
Oh,
Definitely.
bloody hell. So that is both
Are they
a
attacking
hit. Yes. I'm just going to double check what this is going to do. Oop. I've got the wrong one up. So, favorite things to do is that and that. So, a warrior leaps off the top deck of the ship and rushes at you, Mug, and he is wielding a longsword in two hands. He has a very decorated coat and a tricorn hat with a massive feather, making him a bit of an outlier compared to the rest of the crew.
Oh, with a tricorn, and so does it look? Well, I guess Mug doesn't know, but a captain, right?
He looks, Mugs, you're probably not certain who he is. However, both.
He looks strong.
He looks strong, he looks like he's in charge, and he looks pissed.
Oh yes.
So firstly, he has hit you.
Come at me.
Secondly, he is
How
going
many points?
he's going to do that. Plus, he likes mighty blows, so he's going to do that. And also, I need to double check the stunt table because he had a lot to spend. Mighty blows 2, so he gets to use the other one too.
Uh-oh. Well, Mug can take it. Right, Mug?
So that is 11 damage.
Oh, 11 damage.
And he's
That's
knocked you
fine.
prone as well.
What?
He has rushed in and kicked you backwards, tripping you on your own charge, and slashed you as you've gone down.
How dare he? Well, I guess I'm shooting this fucker.
So, that's, for the lack of a better description at the moment, the captain's turn. His crew also leap into action, and they're going to board. The one that Wisp you shot is going to stagger towards you and try to attack you. Unsurprisingly, fails miserably. And Silas, you see one that has a rifle and he's sprung to shoot at you, and I'm presuming a 14 might hit.
Yes, because that's versus my defense, right?
Yep.
Yes, that hits.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
How uh-oh, I said.
Yep, so he gets to use both of those. So he's using rapid reload, pierce armor.
Oh, no.
It's okay, it was only 11. for me as well. Oh wait, Glenn, was the 11 point with or without the armor?
That was not counting your armor, so please subtract your armor.
Meh.
Yeah, it's probably not heaps of damage, but
He's trying.
you are a fighter and you do have a metric ton of armor compared to a lot of people.
Yeah, it will only take him 6 more turns to get me. By that time, he would die.
I'm presuming a 12 doesn't hit you on your defense. Timo?
No.
Okay. So this sailor that's attacked you has drawn his rifle, swung it in your direction, and fired in response to you boarding the ship. Has hit you with the first shot, reloaded, and tried to snap off a second, which has just slammed into the timber of the ship right next to you. The first shot, however,
was not friendly.
Oh no, this is friendly, my friend.
Let me just double check. Because I want that. He is using that. And so he has done 10 points of damage with pierce armor.
10 points of damage with pierce armor?
Yep.
Is that, my armor is 3, is that rounded up or down when halved?
Good question on that.
Because that would be either 1 or 2.
It does matter.
Yep, it does. I'm just going to quickly double check that for you. In the meantime, while I'm working that out, Mug, it is your turn.
Yes, finally. Okay, so I'm trying to shoot Mr. Boss Guy in the face.
So, not even getting up, you're just pulling your pistol and firing from the ground?
Over the mad!
Whoa. It does.
You can get up as
Yeah, but it's
your
just-
move action
Yeah.
and still attack, but if you don't
Yeah.
take that, you can aim.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking. I also have. So I'm a novice in quick reflexes, so I get the ready action free. Does that help me with standing up, or no?
Ready action is stuff like changing your weapons or pulling a grenade kind of thing, or arming a grenade, I should say.
Yeah. No, I.
Yeah, it unfortunately.
Okay, can I?
So you can pull your gun and shoot from the ground, like no issues whatsoever from there, and it would count as an aim shot.
So does aim help me shoot better? Or?
It gives you a +1.
But only for a +1.
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
On the flip side,
fuck it, let's be badass. Yeah, let's shoot from the ground.
just to explain being prone on the ground as well, it makes you slightly easier to hit by someone in melee, but it makes you harder to hit from range. So anyone trying to shoot at you's got a negative. Anyone trying to hit you while they're right next to you has an advantage. So.
Okay. And this fucker is trying to hit me, but I'm going to hit them in the face. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see how this goes.
In the meantime.
Okay. Why do I never get stun points?
That's right. They will come at some point.
It's probably going to hit. It's going to hit, but I have 0 stun points. This is so stupid. Do I add perception or?
You add
Accuracy.
accuracy to hit and perception to damage.
Yeah.
Rounding down, I believe, Timo.
Okay, so I'm going for 1 armor on that
Yep.
10. Okay. So that's 9 hit points of damage. That brings me down to that number. That number.
Is 7. I think it's 14 points.
Yep, that will hit him.
Oh no, it's more than 14. It's 16, but
Yep, that's fine.
yeah.
That definitely counts as a hit. So roll up your
Nice.
damage for your pistol.
It's quite small. It's only 6 points of damage.
That's all right. He
So-
is not wearing
But
armor.
It's magical. And it's magical.
Yep.
And I aimed at his face.
Yep, your bullet clips him and you see blood dripping from the side of his face.
Yeah.
So
Take that. So after I shoot, I can't stand up anymore, right?
No,
since you
because
aimed,
used
no.
Aimed.
Yep.
But can I reload?
That would also be a minor action.
It
and
would be a
therefore the
Yeah, it would be a
aim.
minor action at the moment.
So I can still do that?
No, because you used it to aim instead. But you'll be able to do it next round, as if that's the first thing you want to do.
Okay, so it's next round I can stand up and reload.
Yep, stand up and
No.
reload.
Yes, but then no shot.
Yeah. So you could stand up and reload, or you could stand up and attack with a melee weapon.
Sadness.
Also, considering you've got a free action to swap weapons, if you got a stunt points on your melee weapon, technically you could then swap to a rapid reload and just finish with your gun. I
Okay.
will say, since that was your turn, they've had their turns. Alara has seen that some of you have already been hit, and she is going to use her first spell of the day, which is
I'm
going
actually okay.
Silas was probably a little less okay. So she's actually going to do that.
Yeah, Silas is not looking too excited at the moment.
Aw.
So just double checking this. So she can use.
Silas get hit, by the way.
Sorry.
Like I know Silas got hit, but where did the bullet hit him?
Oh. Important questions for Lara.
So it would have been in the chest based on that. I just
Oh,
randomized
that's
it.
okay. You can survive that.
And Alara is going to touch Alaric's shoulder. Sorry, not Alaric. Alara is going to touch Silas's shoulder and use healing touch. So her hand's going to glow and she is going to heal you for 10 HP.
Oh yeah.
Right, here.
I'm gonna nod and say thank you.
She's
I,
just...
I assume that I can do that out of my turn.
Yep. Yeah, you can talk out of your turn.
Oh, okay.
She's just going to spark. And that is her turn. And now the crew are going to fight. Right. Both your crew and their crew are literally laying into each other. You are seeing people hit the deck on both sides.
As in dead?
Some are dead, some are
Yes,
injured.
Should dare kill our crew.
Edric,
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
you are up.
I believe there's a fucker that angered me.
I
How
believe
close
so.
is he?
So he is standing up near the wheel. He seems to be leaning on it, holding it to keep the two ships side by side, just as Bhajiri is keeping yours. But he is using it to also rest his rifle on and use aiming along it.
Can I reach him?
There are a number of brawls and fights between where you are and them, so you would have to either skirt around them or try and rush through the middle.
Either isn't a great option.
However, they're only about 20
Ooh.
feet away.
That's close enough. Can I use my minor action to switch from my pistols to my rifle?
Yep.
I'm going to switch to my rifle.
Yep. And I
What
presume
I'm going to...
you're going to take a shot?
Yeah, because I don't have movement anymore if I switch, right?
Yep.
Okay, then I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to aim for the hand he uses to pull the trigger on his rifle, if like that side of his body at least.
Yep. You
Either
can do
that
that.
or his head.
From where you are, you can best see both his head and sort of the upper part of his body as he's sort of half behind the wheel, and he's currently got his rifle against the wheel, and
fair.
he's using it to reload.
In that case, his face looks like a nice target.
Yep.
Either that or just below it in the neck.
Yep.
That's 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 5 plus 2 plus 2 is a lot of numbers.
That will be a hit.
It will be a 19 in total.
That's a hit.
Okay, with 3 stun points. So what I'd like to do... So I'd like to... I can't make a lightning attack anymore. I'm gonna try and disarm again.
Yep.
And I'm also gonna rapid reload afterwards.
Yep.
So for my damage, that would be... plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. 15. 15 total.
Right, yeah.
For the disarm, that would be versus a 19 for his attack.
He did not beat that, so...
That would be 1d6 yards away.
Yep, noted.
Ooh. Question for next time that I may have forgotten in that first cannon shot, which the difference didn't matter. For cannons, do I also add perception to damage?
Yes.
Okay, I forgot that, but never mind.
It doesn't
like
usually... Unless you do an incredibly low damage roll, it doesn't make heaps of difference. Not unless you're shooting at ships. So there we go. We have... How much damage did you do?
I did 15 damage in total.
15. Noted. So you catch him just as he's trying to pour gunpowder down the barrel of his rifle, and your bullet slams into his wrist, through it, and into him,
Ooh.
throwing his weapon away from him as he had it half pinned against his body and against the wheel.
Awesome.
Sounds good.
Wisp, you are up.
I want to try and slit that guy's throat with my short sword.
Go for it. So you now rush forward and engage him. So he's tried to lunge at you with a weapon, but has flailed miserably, trying to also hold his innards in from where your crossbow bolt has buried into him.
Only got a 9.
Let me double check. He just manages to lurch back and parry your attack.
Oh my god.
I will just double check that you did add your accuracy to that.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah, I did all the things. I literally,
That's fine.
very low rolls.
They do happen on occasion. Trust me, the enemies do them almost as much as you do. Speaking of, that brings the enemies up. So, Captain's going to try.
Oh, yeah, the captain.
I return.
Well, next time I'm attacking with melee weapon.
5, 9. What's he add to this? What's your defense, Mug?
Sorry?
What's your defense?
It is 12.
Bloody hell.
So it's not very...
That's fine. He literally just hit you.
Oh no! He just hit me. It's 13.
That's all right. He still managed to do slightly better than a 13, but not by much.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
And he has only done 8 damage that time.
Oh, my armor comes down from that.
Yes.
Okay. So this fight is going to take some time. I better get out my melee weapon.
Let's just say that he wasn't expecting for you not to get up and instead shoot him, so he took the blow to the side of the head from the bullet. Blood's gotten in his eyes, and his swing nearly missed you, but sort of just scraped against you as he slammed his blade into the deck.
Not expecting it on debut.
And with that, the one fighting you, Wisp, is going to attack. Once again, is going to completely whiff that. The one up on the wheel is instead going to try... Silas, you hear the one up at the wheel shouting and pointing in your direction at some of his comrades, but none of them appear to hear over the melee.
Yeah.
And with that, Mug, you're up.
Oh, again? What? That was quick. That was quick.
Yep. The only thing I'm going to do in the meantime is that roll.
Okay.
And
So I can get up and attack with melee, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The heavy soldiers, however, seem to be pushing a lot of your crewmates back towards your ship.
Ah, yes. Ha 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 ha. Well, I'm definitely hitting this time, and I got 6 stunts as well.
Yep.
Oh.
So I'll get you to roll your damage, because if you got a 12 plus your bonuses, I'm fairly certain that's a hit.
Well, I'm just the base roll without the bonuses is 16. So with the bonus, so I add. Do I add fighting? I can't remember now.
Yes. So for your melee weapon, you add your fighting to your hit roll, and you add your strength to your damage roll.
Yeah, because this is 18 to hit, which I'm assuming is going to hit.
That is very much a hit. You've got 6 stunt points to use, plus you have plus. Let me just double check your character sheet if I still got it open, because I think your strength is ludicrous.
4.
Yeah, so you get to add plus 4 damage.
Yeah, because I get a 2d6. Yeah. Okay, so I guess. What does? So this guy is not wearing any armor.
No, he's the most he's wearing is sort of like a linen shirt with a large trench coat over it. It doesn't provide much in the way of armor more than just padding.
Well, that's too bad for you. Too bad for you. Right. So I'm going for. So what can I do? I guess I can do the. Is it called Mighty Blow, where you do extra damage?
Yep. So Mighty Blow does. Off the top of my head, 2d6. Sorry, you've got. If you spend 5 points, you can use Lethal Blow, which is 2d6. But off the top of
2d6 extra.
Yeah, but I just want to double check, because you're a warrior, and you get special abilities around stunt points. So I just want to double check. Which ones that is. You can perform a dual strike stunt for 3 stunt points instead of 4.
Oh, just dual strike.
Yeah.
For 3.
So that affects 2 targets.
And yeah. And how much is a Mighty Blow?
Mighty Blow is 5.
No, that's lethal.
Sorry, Lethal Blow is 5. Mighty Blow is 2. And Mighty Blow is only an extra 1d6.
Yeah, but if I do dual strike, can I strike him twice?
Dual strike actually affects a different target. What you can do is a lightning attack.
Oh, okay. So can I do a lightning attack and Mighty Blow? How much is a lightning attack?
Oh, hang on. Lightning attack is ranged only. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I can't.
No, so what you could do for 6. I guess the most worthwhile thing you could do is try to use either Lethal Blow for extra damage.
Yeah.
6 stacks of skirmish for 12 meters of knockback.
I mean, I can actually knock them back as well. With my because I have novice in 200 stars, so I can actually push someone back 2 meters on an attack. So can I actually push them off the ship?
Technically, yes. So if you use skirmish,
skirmish for more distance if needed.
Yeah. So if you use skirmish, you can actually move your opponent.
So this is what's it? A skill thing. So I'm a novice in 200 style.
Yep.
So on attack, I can push someone back by 2 meters.
So if you, instead of using your maul, instead go to attack with just your fists, you could use that plus skirmish. And for 6 points, that means you could throw them 6 by 2, 12 meters plus 14. You could effectively throw them off the side of the ship.
Glenn, isn't two-hander style specifically for using a two-hander weapon? like a mole.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
So
sorry,
that should be for
two-handed.
my mole.
No, sorry, it is for your mole. I mistook it for your other skill, which is for your unarmed.
No.
My bad.
Yeah, unarmed stuff. Yeah, no, this is for the mole to just
Nope.
hit them with the mole and then literally just push them off the ship.
You can make the attempt, definitely, yeah.
Okay.
So you're going to hit them and just
well,
blow everything into a skirmish to try and move him as far as possible?
then.
Radio. I'll get you to roll your damage.
Okay. So the damage is just normal damage.
Yeah, just roll your normal damage plus.
Okay.
So off the top of my head, I think it's +3 and +4. +3 for the weapon and +4 for your strength.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So that yeah. So I rolled a 7, which is 14 points of that. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So I just rolled a dice to see what happened with your massive hit. So, to the captain's surprise, you launch yourself back onto your feet, pulling your two-handed maul up in a massive uppercut. Not only do you sink your blow between his legs and send him flying, you send him skidding across the deck, and he slides underneath the railing, clutching his crown underneath the railing as he's clutching his crown jewels.
Ooh.
Is he actually off the ship?
He is off the ship.
Wow.
Considering we're flying, that's quite a fall.
You're not as high as you would normally be, so you could probably lean over the side and see, but
You can see the splat.
He's probably out of the fight for the being, at least. Yeah, so I think Mug is roaring in victory
and
and then looking for a new target.
I'm just going to roll a couple of these because that was witnessed.
That steering wheel guy, is that still alive?
Yes, he is still alive. Mug, some of the lightly armed soldiers around you have seen this and taken one look at you and the people they were fighting just then and thrown their weapons down. They've decided they're out of this.
Kill it anyway.
The heavily armed soldiers, however, are still fighting.
Okay.
Edric.
Fair enough.
Actually, there is one other person that needs to react, and that is Alara.
Alara has a turn before me, right?
She is last in the rings, so she is after Mug. She is actually going to cast a straight arcane blast at the one that you shot.
Ooh.
Is she taking my kill?
Firstly, she is hitting with it. Secondly, she is doing that. Yep. She is both hitting and doing damage. And yes, she did just snipe your kill. She flicks her hand up and generates a flickering and then glowing blast of arcane energy in her hand that she hurls at the shouting soldier up near the wheel of the ship and catches him square in the face, and he goes sliding down the wheel.
Silas actually yells that out.
Silas yells, "What?"
Silas yells, "I was gonna do that."
She
It's too late
smirks.
for you.
She simply smirks at you and goes, "I just got in first," and then sort of waves a hand to the rest of the ship. "After you." And with that, it's your turn.
Okay. And I turn around looking for like a big looking dude. Because wait, the guys that have given up.
There are so far 2 or 3 lightly armed sailors that have so far thrown their swords down and just holding their hands where they can be seen in a "don't hurt me." They are giving Mug the biggest side eye.
Considering they're busy looking at Mug,
Yep.
I'm gonna look around and shoot the closest one to me.
All right.
What? You're shooting the people who are throwing down their weapons.
Yep.
But why? Just shoot the ones that are actually fighting.
Good. But I could also take the easy kill. Sometimes it's about the message you send to the audience, right?
Okay.
You can roll your attack.
I'm actually gonna aim at one of the bigger dudes
Yep.
for now. I can always kill the 700 later.
So they have formed a fighting unit and are in a brutal fight with some of your crewmates.
What kind of weapons do they have?
They're using a mixture of swords and axes.
Okay, is there any black powder on them?
Not that you can see. These ones seem to look be frontline soldiers. They use
Okay.
armor and melee weapons.
I'm gonna try and snipe one of the dudes.
Yep.
Let me take a second to see what I'm at. Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna just do that without like moving or anything. I'm not gonna aim either.
Okay.
I'm gonna use my movement after shooting.
Yep.
And that's triple fives.
That will
So
hit.
that means that plus 5 plus 4 is 24 to try and hit.
Yeah, no, that is beyond a hit.
Okay. In that case, I'm gonna use my stunt points. I'm gonna lightning attack.
Yep.
And I'm gonna rapid reload twice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fire both my pistols.
Yep.
Then, as in the lightning attack, which makes it the second pistol as well.
Yep.
Then I'm gonna rapid reload both of the pistols.
Yep.
And then I'm just gonna tuck them away, and that's when I'll do my movement thing.
Yep.
Oh wait, fuck. I did a dumb. I had my rifle out still, so not my pistols, but my rifle. I also calculated for the rifle, so the pistols thing came in with when I rapid reloaded. I'm still gonna do the same thing, so I'm gonna shoot, rapid reload, lightning attack, rapid reload.
Yep. So you're doing that with the rifle instead of the pistols?
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
Is the guy quicker than me?
Hell no. Not with all that armor on.
6. 20 points of damage on the first shot.
Alright, I'll subtract his armor from that.
And then I'd like to use the second shot to aim at the same guy.
So you did 15 points of damage?
20 total.
20. Oh, right,
yeah.
yep.
Minus his armor.
Yep. He is wearing, like, steel armor, so...
Fair enough, fair enough. So the second hit, or the second attack,
Yep.
is maths. That's You know what?
Maths is terrible.
I'm gonna type it out and just calculate it that way. Because I rolled terrible, but I'm so glad I'm using my scoped rifle. And 15 total.
That's still a hit.
Okay. And I'm not going to be able to use pinpoint attack on that one. And that means 13 damage.
13 damage as well, minus that, so...
Some damage. Or at least I hope it still does some damage. Otherwise I need that armor as well. If it negates 13 points of damage.
No, it doesn't negate 13 points of damage. You have sent 2 bullets into him, and he is bleeding profusely and clutching his side, where there are 2 nice new holes in his shiny armor.
Is there netting on the side of the ship, like on the old pirate ships as well?
There is rigging to get up and onto the balloon, and
I'd like
sort of like roped rigging around the balloon as well, so to allow crew to sort of navigate around it and repair it if need be.
I'd like to climb the rigging.
Right, so you leap up and start climbing up the rigging.
Yeah, I'm going to use all of my movement to just climb.
Okay, so you get up to basically... I'm presuming you're not wanting to put the balloon between you and the deck.
Not yet.
Yeah, so you climb about halfway up the rigging to roughly where it starts to meet the balloon.
Yep.
So you're looking now through the rigging and underneath the balloon at the deck below.
How high up am I in relation to the deck?
In relation to the deck, you're about probably easiest way to describe it would be straight from deck going up. The balloon normally sits on a vessel of this size, about 10 to 15 meters above the deck.
Awesome. Perfect.
And then the top of the balloon is obviously a lot higher than that.
Yeah, it's a big balloon, I'm
Yeah.
going to assume.
Big and made of like layered thick materials so that, you know, you can't just pop it with a simple bullet.
Yeah, it wouldn't also be me just stabbing it with my bayonet and just sliding down. And...
You would be there for a very long time trying to poke holes in it with a bayonet.
Just going stabby, 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 stabby.
There are much more efficient ways to deal with balloons. So you've moved up there. Whisp, it is your turn. You had this very injured sailor trying to stab you twice now.
I'm going at him again with my sword, and my god, if I do bad this time, I am just gonna hide in shame.
Stab the guy. Please, for crying out loud, stab him. Is this that same...
It's the same one that she shot when he first boarded.
Uh-huh.
That's one hell of a fight.
To be honest,
I got...
he's been in horrible shape this entire fight. Which
So what you're saying is he has an excuse.
Well, it also might account for why she's missed, because he is sort of staggering around, barely keeping his feet, which makes it a little harder to hit him.
20.
That is a hit.
Good.
Well done.
Finally. It worked for that.
Yep, so that will carry over until Wisp decides to move it.
Oh boy. Poor dude.
There is a great deal you do not know about Wisp.
I know. I'm actually I've made it this far, to be fair. 10.
10.
Yep.
Wisp, As he staggers back after failing to slash you again, you just neatly lean forward and finish him off by slashing his throat, and he drops to the deck, gurgling.
That took longer than I would have liked.
Well done.
Hopefully you didn't see that across the way. Focus on your own brain.
Rightio. Did you aim in that to hit, or did you just attack?
Yeah, put him in it.
Okay, that's right. So, based on that, it is going... Well, there's no captain anymore. One of the armoured soldiers is going to rush forward to engage you, Mug, now.
Well, might as well
Obviously.
try. I still want to fight her.
So, they rolled pretty horribly, but did they get their bonuses is the question. So they got a 14, so I believe that's just a hit.
Yeah, because mine is on the 12.
They, however, only did a grand total of 9 damage.
I can take that. You think you can get me? I will get you.
This one laughs and says, I can't wait to turn you into paste, short one.
Uh-oh.
Please try. I haven't had a good fight in a while.
With that, Mug, you're up.
Oh, I was trying to keep track of the damage, but my previous damage sheet. Oh, I forgot. Yeah. So I think I had a 7. Then was it a 4? And what was this damage? It was an 8.
Yeah.
Well.
So it was an 8 minus your armor.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's fine. So, still have plenty of fight in me. Watch until I make you shorter.
So
right. I better take out his kneecaps.
You're going for his kneecaps. Roll your attack.
I am going for the kneecaps. I mean, they call me shorter. I have to do something about that.
By bringing them down to size.
Definitely. That's the minimum.
A dead body is always shorter than a dwarf.
Yep. Yeah. So I think I'm going to hit, but unfortunately, no thingy.
Yep. What did you got?
Yeah. So that's. I'm so bad at counting. 14. I think this is 17.
Yeah, that's definitely a hit.
Yeah, but no stunt, unfortunately. But it's still 2d6 damage.
Yep.
7. Roll well. So that's 15 points of damage.
That's still quite reasonable. So...
Even if he is wearing armor.
Yep.
And I was going for his kneecap.
Yep, I will describe what you've just done. So you did 15 damage minus his armor. Which does that. In response to his jibe, you've done a two-handed swing and slammed it right where the armor joints connect on his kneecap. and
Boy.
knocked it sideways. The armor itself is very dented and seems to be painfully jabbing him in the knee. So even though it seems to have absorbed some of the blow, it still seems to have done a reasonable amount of damage to him at the same time, and he is now favoring his other leg.
You will soon come down below my level.
Alara is going to take the opportunity to once again cast a spell, and this time she's going to use Healing Aura, I believe, because a few people have taken damage. Actually, no, she's already healed you, Silas, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's healed me.
Yep. In which case, she is going to do something slightly different. She will walk up, or she will rush over to just behind where Mug is, lean out and touch you in the back, and cast Healing Touch as well. So.
Oh.
And you'll just hear.
Careful with that touch.
You'll hear her gently say, "It's just me. Don't worry." And then she's gonna. Well, that was shit. Heal you only 2 hit points.
I think you better watch out for yourself instead of jumping. Yeah, don't jump into the.
Yeah, she snake eyes that.
Something insignificant like this. This is but a scratch.
Well, she only healed a scratch.
She didn't even heal the scratch.
Bloody hell. Yeah, no, she whiffed that one.
Oh man, that's so unlucky.
It happens. That's the risk of healers. So,
yeah.
All up, she's already burnt through that in her spell points.
It's okay. It counts for something.
Yep.
She tried.
She tried.
She's not been able to make as much contact as she'd like, because you're in the middle of a fight. She's just trying to sort of reach in and tap you a couple of times in the back to use the magic, and it's nowhere near as effective. Edric, you're up.
So that big guy that I shot is still standing, I believe?
He is still standing. He seems to be quite injured, but he is still on his feet. He's currently dueling one of the twins. And this twin is barely holding his own. He's bleeding in a few places, but seems to be just keeping this warrior from killing him.
Good to help. I'm gonna shoot the big fucker again.
Go for it.
This time, because now I'm in position where I wanted to be. And this time I'm gonna aim.
Go for it.
Triple six.
Ooh.
Definitely a hit. Roll your damage and then describe exactly what you were trying to do. Because you will get to use your full 6 stunt points, which will probably impact what you were trying to do.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna lightning attack.
Yep.
With 2 rapid reloads and a pierce armor.
Right. Yep. Roll all that up.
I'm still faster than him.
You were definitely faster than him. Any of the heavily armored ones seem to be a bit sluggish on the movement based on the armor they're carrying. Fair
enough. How did it work with triple sixes? That's double dice rolls, right?
So it won't do. You still use the stunt points to do your extra damage. Just there will be an effect.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's not above the lightning attack and
No,
like
you won't do
okay,
extra
good.
damage based on getting 666s, but there can be extra effects based on the fact that you've done it and it's been witnessed.
Okay. In this case, as he's going for like another attack on the on that twin dude,
Yep.
I'd like to, as he swings back, shoot him like in the face to almost try and knock him off balance and make him like unable to attack. And then of course his face, because why not?
Okay, yep. So roll all your damage and I'll see how much that does compared to what health he has.
So the first attack does +3 is that's 7, 10, 17 damage total.
Yep.
And then I get a second attack for which I roll.
Oh, and you did pierce armor, didn't you, as well?
Yes.
So I need to add on to that another 3.
Is 18 to hit on the
Yep, so that's a hit.
apparently.
Sorry?
To hit.
Yeah, that's a hit.
Okay. And that one is. I really scuffed that one. Snake eyes on my damage dice.
Oh, only 2.
Yep.
Plus your
What?
perception.
Yeah, +3 from using a pistol, +3 from perception, makes it a total of 8 damage still.
You'll be happy to know it still draws blood.
Yeah. So that's
So,
what I'm doing.
as he smashes the twins' blade down and out of position and then raises his two-handed battle axe for a killing strike, you fire. And your first round sinks into the gap between his helmet and his breastplate,
Mm-hmm.
smashing his collarbone. The second shot glances off his helmet and into his chest. It seems that the ricochet has taken a lot of the sting out of the blow, but it's still, you see that there's a puncture in his armor where it hit. The warrior is absolutely reeling from the damage. Not dead from that attack, but isn't able to finish off the twin.
Yes.
However, as he staggers back from that, the twin lunges forward and sinks his blade straight through the neck, using the opportunity that you just created.
Oh, wait, so one of the
Yes.
twins died?
Nope. The twin instead managed to, basically was saved by Edric, and
okay.
finished off the heavy soldier that he was fighting. As he
You know what?
as he
I'm
whips
so
his
glad you
blade
stole
out,
my kill.
as he whips his
Yeah.
blade out, he raises his bloody sword in a salute to you, Edric, and then turns back to fight another of the heavily armed soldiers.
Yeah. I am so
twins
glad
are
he stole my
alive.
kill though, because that meant he survived.
Yeah.
Also, I'm now hanging in the rope still.
Yep. So, Wisp, you're up.
I'm literally just going to reload my weapon and that's it.
Yep. So, you take the time to reload your crossbow. I'm going to do the cruise actions. A couple more of the sailors on the enemy ship are sort of rushing off to the sides, casting their weapons aside and surrendering. But the soldiers are fighting hard. There is about 6 or 7 of these heavily armed soldiers, and they seem to be almost in a death pact, trying to fight to the last.
Well, I can take them on.
So most of them are engaging your allies, and 2 more are going to rush forward. One of them is going to come at you, Mug, and one of them is actually going to go for Alara, who is still on deck near you. The one that goes for you, Mug, doesn't hit. And
oh boy.
the one that goes for Alara very nearly stumbles into you in the attempt and doesn't hit. And with that, Mug, you're up.
That was close.
Well, you nearly wound up with one tripping in front of you.
That would have been funny. Okay.
So there are...
I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
You now have 2 heavily armored warriors in front of you. One of them tried to attack just past you at Alara, and the other one has gone for you.
Okay. So I kind of wonder if I can hit what. Okay. I'm definitely at least trying to hit the one that pissed me off. The other one doesn't seem that scary because it didn't even hit me. I think I will probably hit them, but again, no stunt points.
Yep.
It's so bad. I keep getting this 5, 4, 3, and it's the exact combination that never gets you a stunt point. They will almost certainly hit.
Yeah, well, it is a hit.
Yes, it's been.
Yep. These are not particularly fast, gentlemen. 2 of them still fighting you. So one that you hit in the knee is now supported by another, and there's the one that's trying to get past Alara. Or past you all to Alara.
Yeah, so I thought I was... Yeah, so I'm trying to attack the one that I attacked before.
Yep. So you do hit him.
Okay. Ooh. That's finally some good damage. So
You're fully capable of causing it.
it's 17 points of damage.
Oh, ouch. Even with the armor.
Yeah. I mean, I rolled 10 points and then I have +7, so...
Yeah. So you've sent a second swing at him, and this time you've aimed a bit higher and gone for his hip, and once again you've smashed into his armor and actually caved parts of it in, and he's barely using that leg properly anymore.
See, you're getting closer to me now.
So,
Mug just smiling evilly as the guy is going lower and lower is so much fun.
Alara is going to try and do something sneaky. Let's see. Yep, screw it. She is doing that against the one attacking her. So she burns a shit ton of her magic. And he needs to do a save. Against her spell power. Which he actually failed. So you see Alara wave her hand, and a sort of almost shimmering grey wispy smoke flashes from her hand towards the one that tried to attack her, and then wraps around his head and then his eyes, and just keeps flashing with shapes and images before vanishing.
Ooh.
And she stands up a little straighter and smirks at him and goes, "Would you like to try that again?" With that, Silas, you're up.
Is there any of our crew looking in trouble across my range for the rifle?
So from what you can see, the fact that these two soldiers have rushed forward has evened the fight a little bit with the twins and the rest of your crew and the remaining soldiers. However, Mug and Alara are now surrounded by 3 heavily armored soldiers.
I'd like to aim for one of them, like one of the heavily armored troops there.
Yep, so there's 2 fighting Mug, one of them limping, and then you've got the one that's sort of trying to skirt around Mug and the other 2 to attack Alara.
I'd like to take the one that's I'd like to target the one that's trying to hit Alara.
Yep, go for that. So roll your attack.
Okay.
Whoops, I just dropped my dice.
0 stunt points. Is wait, +1 from aim, and I am quicker than them, right? Oh yeah. I'm still quicker than them.
You were definitely quicker than any of the armored ones.
If I did the maths correct, and I'm quite sure I did, it's a 19 to hit.
Definitely hit.
Okay. That's 6 + 4 + 2 + 3 + 3 is 18 damage.
Oh.
18 damage.
Yep.
Yep, you see a splash of red from above as his armor is pierced and you damage him.
Haha.
You hear like the faintest of grunts.
I'm gonna try. Wait, are they almost directly beneath me from what I understood?
They're sort of like beneath you and ahead of you.
Okay, so it would be difficult to spit on him from here.
You'd probably be more at risk of hitting Alara in the back of the head.
Yeah, no. No, that would be mean.
Should not appreciate that.
Wisp, you are up. So
right, what's happening? I am. Oh, sorry, you're about to.
That's right. So from where you are, there are a couple of sailors that have leapt across onto the ship near you, and they are engaging the crew up near where Bhajiri is on the wheelhouse. And the deck between you and the other ship is relatively clear, and you can see Alara and Mug fighting these 3 heavily armed soldiers.
I'm gonna still stay on here and try and clear the deck there before trying to help them. So
you're going for one of the ones that's trying to rush the wheelhouse where Bhajiri and the others are holding.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm gonna use my crossbow.
Yep.
Or does that count as
Yeah, you can roll your crossbow bow attack. You're effectively attacking them in the back.
Right.
Nice.
Backstabbing.
$14.
14 will be a hit.
Are you guys
Math
done?
silence.
Yep. Still here.
Sorry, math.
Oh, good.
we were taking a maths silence.
I was just wondering if my voice already went away again.
No, it's all right. Just paying our respects to the people doing maths.
So that's 22 with 6 SP thingies.
Ooh,
Whatever they're
it's
called.
stunt point.
Stunt points.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's good to use for that other than reloads? Because I am not well versed in that.
So you've got 6 stunt points to spend.
It's a lot. Do a lethal bow.
With a crossbow, a lethal bow would be pretty freaking evil. The other things you could do.
You could ask yourself again, how close are they to the edge?
Yeah, you could do a similar one as well, because with skirmish you could spend all 6 and move someone up to
12 meters.
12 meters, and effectively a brig like what you're on is give or take about 12 meters wide, 12 to 15 meters wide.
So anything you push 12 meters will probably
be at
go and
risk
take
of
a
going
swing.
over the side. If they're on like the center of the ship, kind of like what happened with Mug's fight, they will go over the edge.
Sure. Where's that?
So that's skirmish. You can move yourself or your target. So the other thing you could do is you could shoot and move yourself. So you could rush 12 meters.
And what would that do?
You could move to a different part of the ship. You could move onto the other ship. Or you could do try and move one of the opponents by attacking them. Otherwise, you could just do extra damage because lethal blow is a 2d6 for 5 points.
Yeah, I'll probably go for lethal blow and reload then.
Yep. So a rapid reload means that you can reload your weapon. Lethal blow gives you an extra 2d6 on damage. You will also get your pinpoint d6 as well.
Hey, more damage.
Hey, as I said, the crossbow's lethal.
That crossbow sounds like fun.
The only downside to a crossbow is normally it's reload speed.
Yeah.
And I say normally it's reload speed.
30 altogether? 30?
30 damage.
Damn.
30 damage.
You send a crossbow bolt right between the shoulder blades of a soldier, and he screams and starts trying to clutch at it with his free arm. And it's right at the point where he can't even get his fingertips on it.
Oh.
He is not dead, and he is making the world aware that he's in a lot of pain.
He's almost hoping to be dead, basically.
Oh.
You're murdering people.
Why are you
right?
feeling sad for murdering these people that are trying to kill our friends?
Just because you have to murder
And
them doesn't mean you can't be
ourselves.
sympathetic towards them.
So that's why you're still friends with us.
Right here, so that one misses. That one hits Mug, and this one is going to try. Ooh. No, I have to do some extreme maths because I did funky stuff with the lower earlier. He, despite her best efforts, is still hit. So.
Ooh, okay, so manages to hit finally.
Mug, you get. Once I pull up my sheet just to get the correct damage. Yeah, it's a +3 there. So you take 10 damage.
But minus armor?
Minus your armor, yep. Ooh, ouch. Alara just took 13 damage. And
Does she wear armor?
She does not wear armor. She's also been knocked prone.
Uh-oh. Well.
Oh,
This
no.
is why I told you not to jump in.
So, 13 damage to Alara. Let me just pull a sheet up.
Please don't kill her.
Well. We can always find a new healer, right?
Please don't let Alara die.
And with that,
When
Mug,
happens-
you're up.
Please don't let Alara die.
Right. So
You're still currently engaged by two warriors, one of them which is limping incredibly badly from your blows to both hip and kneecap. The other one currently untouched.
yeah, I guess I should finish what I started, and then deal with the other one.
Yep. I'll get you to roll your attack then.
Let's finish this. Oh, I hope this hit. It's finally. Oh. I finally will have stunned points if this hits, but I think it will hit.
Yep, that will hit.
So I have 4 stunned points finally.
Yep.
So I can't do lethal blow because that would be right.
You can't do lethal blow, but what you can actually do is dual strike.
Oh, pierce armor. Sorry?
You can do dual strike because you've got 2 opponents in front of you.
Oh.
And because you get that for 3 instead of 4, you can also use pierce armor.
Yes. Okay, so dual strike and pierce armor.
Yeah.
Right. So do I roll damage just once?
This token must be adjacent.
They are.
So you've hit them because it automatically applies your attack roll.
Yeah.
And you roll normal damage for them. So you roll damage for the first one, and then you roll damage for the second one.
Okay, but the same attack applies.
The same attack applies. You basically do like a 2-handed swing, like at waist height, and just smash both of them.
Okay. So one of them gets 17 points of damage. I guess.
That will be the first one, plus the pierce armor is going to apply to him. That was 17 points.
The other one gets 16 points of damage.
Right, noted. So 17 points plus pierce armor means that it's going to be effectively 15.
They're not getting like that.
No, this is also the one you've belted in the knee and the hip like twice. And 16, so he takes that. So to describe what you've just done is you've just swirled your maul over your head and then swung it exceptionally hard at shoulder height for you. However, that's about hip height on the warrior in front of you. And you've just slammed your maul right back on the point you've just hit. Which has splintered and sundered further. You've slammed the broken parts of his armor into his hip. And then you've also slammed him into the fellow next to him. They managed
Did it hurt?
Oh, they're both hurt. So they both shout and swear at you.
So how close are you to me now? Should I flatten you more?
He swears at you and says, "I'll make you see your maker sooner than you expect."
keep trying before I get rid of you.
So Alara is quite hurt, so she's going to react immediately on hers and use Healing Aura. So you're going to benefit from this, Mug, because she's bloody desperate.
That's good for me.
So she's going to use all of that, costs 9, and she gets, 3d6 for 9. That's a better roll. Mug, you get 11 hit points of damage back.
Oh, only 11, and that's with my armor added as well.
Sorry, that's 11 hit points of health back, not damage, I should say.
Oh,
She's healed you.
Okay.
Up to
I was
20.
very confused about that response for a bit.
Yeah.
So,
I guess 11 damage, and I thought, so I get damage.
yeah, sorry, it was more the damage that you've taken so far, you get 11 of it back.
You have been undamaged for 11 hit points.
Yep. Well, bloody hell. Calculator, stop doing weird stuff.
So they're never going to take me out at this rate.
Well, Edric, you see that Alara has also managed to, like, although there's blood on her clothing, she is no longer appearing to be in anywhere as much pain as she was before.
Ah, good.
And she's already managing to pick herself up. So that brings us back to you.
To me.
Yep.
So that guy that I wanted to spit at but couldn't because I'd spit at Alara,
Yep.
I'd like to shoot him again.
Go for it.
That would be 19 to try and hit
That's a hit.
with 2 stunt points.
Yep.
So that's gonna be, I'm gonna say, pierce armor and also rapid reload.
Yep.
And still slower than me.
Yep.
That's 19 points of damage.
19 damage minus this. You did use pierce armor though, so I remember that.
Yep.
Alright. He's not quite as bad as the one that Mug's just been wailing on, but he's not far off.
Yeah.
Once again, you've sunk another round into him in a weak point in his armor, and he has staggered under the blow. Whisp, you are up.
I'm going to try to make Screw You Boy stop again. With crossbow.
Yep. So you're going to attack the sailor that was screaming?
Yeah.
Yep. From
13.
That is a hit. From where you are, you can see that he is basically trying to clutch at your crossbow bolt with one hand and flailing in the general direction of, like, Bhajiri and the others with his sword.
Oh dear.
He's not fighting very effectively. As you normally wouldn't with a crossbow bolt buried in your back.
Yeah. These can be kind of...
Yeah.
So we'll see how much damage you do.
17.
So your second bolt is not very far off the next and slams into his back, basically just an inch below where you put the first one. And he stops screaming, stiffens, and then just collapses to his knees and then onto his face.
Ooh.
Both your crossbow bolts sticking out of him.
Can I go collect those?
You can, and one of the sailors turns around, draws his sword, realizing he's under attack from behind, and goes to challenge you. With that, he's going to rush at you. That is definitely a hit. And he uses a short sword. So you take 9 damage from this one.
Okay.
Minus your armor. So one of them has broken away from his companions trying to attack the bridge and has charged you as you've gone to collect your bolts off his dead companion.
Okay, so that'd be 6 damage then.
Yep. Right, the one attacking Mug, or the two are attacking Mug, I should say. One hits. One misses. The one that hits is the one that you've been insulting the entire time. And
Wow.
once again, he's going to do... In fact, he'll just do that. And he's happy he did that because he rolled rubbish. He does 8 damage. And then the one
I
that's...
get like, is that all you got? You're never going to get me like that.
So the one that's fighting Alara swings and the blow looks like it's just about to hit her and she just sways as if she knows it's coming. And it sails past. Edric, you hear her giggle and say, "Oh, I'm glad it's working now."
I'm gonna just look at her with a puzzled look.
So, Mug, it's your turn.
Yes. Okay, so both of them are still standing.
Both of them are still standing. The one that you've been hitting the most is in bad shape. He's barely putting any weight on the leg that you've just smashed up.
Yeah.
There's a good potential you've broken it already. The other one is sort of mildly injured, but not in any danger of falling over.
Well, not yet. Okay. Then I want to finish my first one.
Yep.
Oh no. You know. Oh no.
I heard no.
I mean, it's not terrible. It's just bad.
You would be surprised what hit these guys.
Does this hit?
Actually, yes. Just.
That is indeed in the category I'm surprised.
And I get 1 point. For 1 point, can I do pierce armor?
Yes, you can. As I said, these are not the speediest guys around.
No.
So
Let's
they're not
pierce
going to be
your
dodging
armor.
anything anytime soon. Especially the one that's been wailed on in the leg.
So 12 points with pierce armor.
12 points pierce armor. So this hit, you aim higher, you swing hard, and you crunch the breastplate he's wearing into him, and there is now a massive indent. You actually hear the ribs break underneath it.
Oh.
He spits out blood and sways, but he's still like clinging to staying awake and conscious enough to fight you.
It's still acting tough, basically.
It's going. You're going under soon now, mate. You'll be down below all of us.
So Alara is going to use her rapier now and attack the one that was attacking her, and she hits. You see her lunge and flick her rapier and draw some blood in an attack on the one that has been stabbing at her. Her rapier coming away with the slightest sliver of red on the blade. Edric, it's your turn.
Ooh, is that guy that I've been shooting at still standing?
He's still standing, and Alara did manage to just land a slight slash with her rapier on him.
In that case, I'm gonna steal her kill.
Go for it.
Triple 4.
That'll hit.
Okay.
Well, it's above their speed, so it's a hit.
Nice. That's a lot. I get 4. Oh, bye, Mark. I get 4 stunt points, so now I'm thinking how to use those. Hello.
Hello, we lost you for a bit. Oop. Hello, we got you back.
Bonjour.
Oh,
Oh.
we lost Mug again.
So my 4 stunt points are going to Mighty Blow, a Rapid Reload, and I'd like to use a Skirmish.
Okay, yep.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you.
Yes. You know what? Instead of Skirmish, I'd like to use Pierce Armor, by the way.
Yeah, you can swap that. You haven't rolled your damage yet.
So that's... Oh, I should stop trying to type in that screen. Four plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 12 plus 9 is 21 total damage.
Alright, 21 total damage, pierce armor. You aim carefully and wait just for the moment where he tries to swing his next attack at Alara, and aim for the gap that forms right between his helmet and the shoulder and neck of his breastplate, and sink a bullet round directly into his collarbone, and he staggers, slumps, and hits the deck in front of Alara, gurgling. She looks up at you, blows you a kiss, and steps over his body. With that, Whisp, you are up.
Short sword off. I need to regain my honor.
You are now dueling with this sailor across the deck.
Yes. 19.
Is definitely a hit.
$16.
16 damage.
He's dealing out so much damage. Oh wait,
Ever
my
see-
cat is asking back into the room.
Let me just double check, because how much does it take to reallocate your mark for death? Keep forgetting it's above the magic. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, my cat scared me.
Aw.
Right. So effectively, you use your bonus action to swap your mark for deaths.
Okay.
Just for reference. So 16 damage. You definitely reclaim your honor as you deliver a wicked slash with your short sword that cuts him from hip to shoulder.
Ooh.
You can see where it's gashed through his armor, and he is bleeding profusely. He's going to try and... Oh, ouch.
Huh?
Oh,
Let me just double check what they do with that.
When the DM says ouch, it's probably gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the sailor 666s.
Oh my god.
uh-oh.
So we start writing the memorial service now?
It'll be fine.
Let's see, so their favoured stuff is that and that. So what he is actually going to do...
Oh.
So he's going to lightning attack and skirmish. He actually whiffs the second attack altogether, but he's still doing his damage. So that. So you take 5 plus 3. You take 8 damage from his short sword.
Uh-huh.
And then he effectively just kicks at you to push distance between you.
Uh-huh.
And then he is... Yeah, but basically he'll kick to push distance, and then he's going to rush up the other end of the deck. And basically put his short sword away and pull off his back a spear.
Okay.
That could have gone a bit worse if he had landed the second attack.
Okay.
So for his lightning attack, he was going to use the spear then?
So if he did 2 attacks. He swung his short sword twice, but he only connected on the first one.
But the lightning attack only works with missile weapons.
Ooh, actually,
Oh no, wait. No, wait, no, I misread that. I think. I'm not sure.
lightning attack can, off the top of my head... Yeah, so you can make it with a melee weapon. It's just if you want to do it with a ranged weapon, you have to have a loaded one.
Fair.
So you must have a loaded weapon for every attack. So for example, you can't use lightning attack with a bow if you don't also use rapid reload.
Yeah, fair. Otherwise, it would be really strong.
Well, that's effectively the only way you can then explain it is by putting 2 bullets in the one gun. So he could have done more damage, but he failed to do so. So what he's done is he's done 2 attacks with his sword, skirmished his way around Whisp up to the other end of the deck to put distance in, and then drawn a short throwing spear from his back.
I was genuinely worried I was going to die there.
Very valid.
He could have done a lot more damage. He just luckily didn't. So with them done, with him done, and the heavies haven't had their attacks yet, so they're going to attack. Or at least the 2 remaining ones, so... 1 hits Mug. 2 hits Mug. So the first one does 8 damage to you with a battle axe. And the second one is going to do 11 damage with a longsword.
Okay, so 8 and 11?
Yep, so you subtract 5 from both those.
4.
Oh, sorry, 4.
Isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot what armor you have.
8 and 11, so the 11.
Yep, so
It's
4.
7.
Yeah.
Okay. 7 now.
And that is their turn, which brings it to you, Mug.
Well, as if I would let you get at me. So see what I can do. So yeah, I'm definitely taking out the one that's at this door now, this turn.
Yep.
Sure. Oh no. No, it's just enough to get them, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this is going to be 11.
That will be a hit.
Because the previous one was 10. Okay. But there are no stun points this time, so...
Yep.
But I still do 14 points of damage. So
Okay.
hopefully this will take them out.
So where would Mug like to hit this one with his maul?
Yeah. Can I hit him at the top of the head to squash him down?
Yep. So you do a 2-handed overhand swing. You can't quite get him on the top of the head, but instead you actually catch him on the collarbone and hook him and slam him into the deck. He does not get back up.
I told you would get down under. You won't be looking down on me anymore.
So Alara is going to take the opportunity to actually heal you from your latest injuries.
Yeah, it's fine. I still have loads of hit points.
Well, she also doesn't stuff it up this time, so she gives you 10 hit points back.
Oh, okay. That's fair enough. But thanks, Lara. That was nice.
She smiles and goes, I look out for my friends.
It's better to be my friend than my enemy, right?
She smirks and looks at the one you've just planted into the ground and goes, can you do that to this guy as well? And gestures to the one that's still standing.
With pleasure.
So with that, Silas, you're up.
Haha. How many of the big guys are still standing?
So the fight's still relatively even between the crew and the remaining soldiers. The soldiers have like backed themselves sort of between the railing and parts of the deck and fortifying themselves. So it's much, much harder for your crewmates to get around behind them or anything.
Ah, but that's cheating, see? So, what I'd like to do, considering I can reach them pretty much wherever they try to fortify.
Yep, you've got a
From up here.
pretty good view. So they're using parts of the deck, areas where there are structures on sort of that come up above the deck, so storage, to sort of put obstacles between their flanks and the rest of your crew. So they're still surrounded and sort of cornered in there, but none of your crewmates can get around behind to get a sneaky stab in the back in.
In that case, what I'd like to do is I'd like to use my position above them
Yep.
to shoot them.
Yep, go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna again shoot the guy that looks like he's about to attack someone. Like, is there anyone like that?
I'll get you to do a perception because there is basically a general melee going on and a lot of to and fro. People are getting knocked down, getting themselves back up again on both sides.
Perception comes down to a 15.
With only a quick glance around, you pick out a target. This one appears to be going for Flaley, who, to all intents and purposes, looks like he's holding his own fairly well. But he is definitely on the defensive.
That's our Flaley. Don't you dare attack him. And then I shoot the guy.
Yep.
That's 15.
That hits him.
Okay, I have 3 stunt points, which I'm going to use for a disarm and a rapid reload.
Okay, yep.
So for my disarm, I'd like to, or for my total score of damage, that's going to be a number.
Yep. And I don't believe he makes his opposed check against your attack. So he does lose his weapon.
4 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. Plus 9 is 18 total damage, I think.
Yep. $18 damage, bonus his armor is that. So you shoot at this soldier, timing the attack right when he's pulling his arm up for a swing, and the bullet hits him directly in the wrist, puncturing his armor, and he loses his grip on his blade, which drops directly between him and Flaley.
Ah.
With that, it is Whisp.
I'm just gonna reload my crossbow.
That
Alright.
sounds like a sensible move.
Rightio.
Yeah, but I still got a good dude with a spear pointing at me, so it's like, I'm just gonna reload my crossbow.
Right. So you reload.
He's fair enough.
So he's
Then
gonna
you take out people.
he's gonna throw that spear.
What? How dare he?
So what does he add to it? Well, I'm presuming a 16 hits.
Yeah, 14 for armor.
Yep. So you get hit for another 8 damage.
Joy.
So he takes sort of like a half step in your direction and throws a sort of wicked short spear, almost like a harpoon across, which slams into you. You feel the thunk before you actually realize that you've been hit.
Is it like actual stuck into me?
It would be more of a graze, so it would have hit and sort of injured, but wouldn't be literally still stuck into you. At least not to the level where you're not able to pull it out.
So I have a spear now.
There is a spear directly next to you, yes. Counts as a short spear. That brings us to the fella near you, Mug, who is still standing.
Oh, there we go. You're next. I'm getting you next. Says Mug.
He only got a 12 with that. Off the top of my head, you got...
Oh, it's him attacking. Yeah, I had 12.
You got 12?
Yeah.
That means your defense is, to all intents and purposes, good enough. So you've just kept out of reach of his attack, which brings
You can't even get me.
Yep, brings it to you. You get to reply.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I'm taking you down next. Ooh. Still no stun points, but I think I'm definitely hitting the fucker. Yeah. 15. Oops, 15 is what I wanted to.
15 is a hit.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now let's go and shoot him in the kneecap or somewhere. Well, hit him in. So that's 13 points of damage.
13 damage. You hit him in the kneecap. It's not a massive blow, but you do dent the armor and you hear him grunt in pain at the hit.
That's what you deserved.
And since Alara is next to you, just check if she notices what's going on behind her. She does not. So she is instead... Helps if I pull up her sheet and not completely other one. She will attack with her rapier. That is hilarious that she still hits with that terrible, terrible roll.
Yeah, easy to hit.
It's probably the only saving grace for her. She's not the best melee fighter. And she will... Ooh, she actually has choices. She is going to... do that. She's going to set up So on your next turn, Mug, you get a +2 bonus on the ability test of your choice. That does include attacks.
Ooh.
With that, she rolls her damage.
Wait, are others capable of stacking that?
Yes, that is stackable if different people do it to the same person.
So if I were to now set up Mug as well,
Yep.
that would be a +4 to any ability that Mug uses.
Wow.
Yep.
Huh.
6, 9. Yep. So minus that, he still takes damage. Hit points are meant to go that way, not the other way. So Alara steps forward and whips her rapier across this opponent's eyes, causing him to stagger and clutch at his face. And she murmurs to you, Mug, I think he's all yours now.
Good.
With that, Edric, you're up.
Take him.
I'm gonna shoot. Wait, there's only one big guy left?
Yeah, there's only one that is fighting Mug and Alara now.
Are there any that are fighting a Wisp?
There is a sailor that's thrown the spear at Wisp. You see him on the deck and that he's drawn a sword and he's injured.
So that looks like she's handling herself? Like Wisp is handling himself, herself?
Thank God it wasn't earlier.
Hmm?
Thank God it wasn't earlier.
Yeah, that. So Mug and Alara are handling that big guy quite easily now. Wisp is handling.
From what
I'm
you
gonna
can...
take a shot. Yeah?
who are you going to aim at?
No, I'm curious what you were going to say as
I
well.
was going to say, in looking around at your targets, you've noticed that also that the fight between the remaining enemy crew and your own is still fairly even.
Huh. I'd like to target like a group of enemies.
Yep.
Wait, are there powder kegs on the deck?
Can I get you to do a perception?
Yes, of course. That's 6, 4, 2, 12 plus 3 is 15.
So you see that there is a powder keg still near one of the cannons that the crew have sort of utilized as a bit of a barricade between themselves and your allies. Looks like it's been brought up on deck during the fight.
So those are still full then, if they're being brought up during the fight.
To your knowledge, it looks like it should be.
I'm gonna shoot at that with specific intent of doing damage.
Yep. I'll get you to roll your attack.
Okay, so that's plus an aim. 4 plus 4 plus 6 is 14, plus 9 is 23.
23. Okay, so you're aiming at a powder keg with the intent to actually cause enough of a spark to set it off, right?
That's the goal.
Right. So you look through your scope for the best way to do this and see that the keg, although it's up on deck, has been opened as if it's to be used. And you also realise that it's right next to a cannon, when cannons typically are made of metal. You try and aim for a particular point, and you ricochet a bullet.
Oh, yes.
You aim, you shoot, and you ricochet off the cannon, sending sparks, some of which land in the keg.
Yes.
And now I get to roll all these dice.
Uh-oh. Maybe I should have thought about this.
It's too late now. Might as well just see how it goes. Can't do more harm anymore.
Let's hope that our crew members were far away enough from this big explosion that I caused. And otherwise, they'll learn to stay away from powder kegs, which is a valuable lesson in this kind of work environment.
Yeah.
And now the important part. How many of these idiots were close enough to be there?
See, even the DM called them idiots. They deserved it.
7 of the enemy crew get absolutely blasted to pieces in the resulting explosion. Chunks of them landing everywhere around. There is now only 2 heavily armed soldiers left fighting over there, and the rest of your crew are lunging in for the kill.
Ah, that helped even the odds a bit.
Yep, they are no longer in a fair fight.
Luckily, we don't do fair fights.
Yep.
So,
Except for Mug.
Well, the mug can play dirty if he wants to.
Okay, good.
do I need to remind you how Mug executed the captain?
Oh yeah, fair.
And that was a fair fight. Sort of.
The sweeping nutshot off the ship. Wisp, you
He
were
was
up.
asking for it.
Cross what they did.
Yep, go for it.
Somehow I expected that would be the sentence you'd say. Or at least something with that effect.
15.
That's a hit. Roll your damage.
$22.
You sink your crossbow bolt directly into his chest, right where his heart is, and he just stumbles and then slumps.
That'll teach you to throw a woman who is reloading her weapon.
With that, most of the fighting has come to a halt, as Bhajiri has managed to rally the crew near him to defeat those that have been trying to take the bridge of your ship. That is a 14. So I presume this one has hit you, Mug.
14, yeah.
Yep. So, and he does. I have to keep reminding myself, how much does he do with a longsword plus 3? 12 damage with that.
12 damage. Ooh.
Yep.
That's starting to almost hurt. So -4.
It's starting
That's
to
8.
almost hurt. Damn.
Mug is a tank.
So it's 8 points of damage.
Yep.
see you're a worthy warrior, but I will bring you down still.
Yep, so you get to roll your attack.
And I get a +2 on it, right?
Yes, you get a +2.
So I still don't get stunned point.
Well, you get a +2 on the ability roll that you want, so that does include your damage.
Oh, okay. So I can have it on the damage instead because
Yep.
I don't need this for the attack.
Yep.
I'll have it for the damage. Because yeah. My attack rolls are good enough, but it's just there's no stun point. So it's like
It does happen on occasion.
Oh, it keeps happening. So that's 16.
16
Points to attack.
damage. Yeah.
No, to attack.
To attack, that's a hit. Yep.
Wow. And to damage, so I get +2.
Yep.
And then so 7, so that's 14.
14 damage?
Yeah, so it is 16.
16 damage.
Yeah, with a +2. Yeah.
Yep. It's another solid blow into this one. You hear bones creak and break in his chest as you slam him hard into his breastplate. He's not down, but he is hurting badly. Lara's going to take the opportunity.
He is decidedly not happy with you now.
It's too bad for you.
So Alara is going to glance around. She's still not going to see Wisp.
Aww.
She's not looking behind her. She's just looking around the ship that she's currently on. Seeing that the fight is almost over with the others, she is going to take the opportunity to cast this again. So he needs to roll that. And he fails. So based on that, what's she going to hamper? Yeah, she's toughen up his accuracy. So, Edric, you're up.
Okay. Considering the fight is now drawing to a close.
Yep.
I'd like to make my way down.
Yep.
And as I get down to the deck,
Yep.
I'd like to look at one of the guys who has dropped his weapons to the floor, hands up.
Yep.
And I'd like to shoot him in the face.
Okay.
But we could have played that one better.
That's 19 to hit.
It's definitely a hit.
Am I quicker?
You are definitely quicker.
$19 damage as well.
He pitches onto the deck screaming as you shoot and the bullet tears through his jaw. Those that have also surrendered that are near you run onto, basically lurch and throw themselves onto the Cirrus. And you can hear them shouting and begging for mercy of Bhajiri and the others there. Wisp, you're up. And you've
Well, I'm not gonna attack everyone who's surrendering.
You have also seen exactly what Edric done.
Sorry, what did Edric do? I kind of zoned out.
Edric shot a surrendered sailor in the face. And you had front row seats to the show.
Oh my god.
It looks fabulous, however.
I'm just going to shoot him and look disapprovingly whether he sees it or not.
Fair enough.
He's probably like reveling in his sadistic fun that he had. So he's not gonna notice.
Mug is like, why are you wasting them? We could have fought them.
Actually, I
them
do
fight
need to
each
ask him
other.
a favour. So
Wait,
if I
me?
can make my way over to him, yeah.
Yep, you
Well,
can.
I was going. Yeah, I want to ask if you can duplicate some of the bandages because I'm running short of them and I kind of need them to heal myself.
Oh yes, of course, of course. I'm gonna try and stuff some bandages into that copy bag.
Yep. So that if they're wrapped tightly in like a little bundle, they can be sort of just shoved in one at a time.
Okay, I'd like to shove one or two into that bag,
Yep.
and I'd like to then pull them out, pull a few out one by one as well, and hand them to Mug or Wisp. I mean, hand them to Wisp.
Yep. So
Because it would be mean to just take the bandages and walk to someone else, going, "You need these."
so Wisp, you hand over a bandage, and Edric, you shove these into your pouch and basically double them. You pull out when you got given 2, you were handed back 4. So while you're doing that, Sailor's going to attack and horribly miss Mug, courtesy of the fact that he can now not hit
Oh,
the
wow.
broadside of a barn.
Wow, okay.
Oh,
At
trust
least
me,
he tried.
he would need, I think, 666s at this stage now to hit. Um,
How come?
Alara
bad.
used magic on him.
Alara has a very, very
Oh.
nifty spell that can force people to roll with a -2 on a particular skill. Kind of hurts when you hit their
Oh, wow.
accuracy.
Yeah.
So he's missed. You're up.
Yeah, so I'm like, look, I'm over here, and then I attack him.
Yep.
Still no stun points, but I think I'm going to hit. So then 14.
14
I think
damage.
14.
Yep.
14 hit. It's a
Oh,
hit,
sorry.
hit,
14,
sorry.
14 is a hit. Yep.
Yeah. Do I still add 2 to the damage or not anymore?
Not anymore because Alara didn't do a setup.
Yeah, so that's only 13.
Yep. 13 damage minus that.
Yeah, so I'm shouting, look over here, I'm not over there, and then I whack him.
He is breathing exceptionally heavy and struggling, but he is still up. Alara is going to... Firstly, she hits. Secondly, she stunts. So she is going to do both that. So... Firstly, her damage, which is probably going to be bugger all, because, you know... Yeah. Damage came to bugger all, as expected. However... So Alara once again darts forward with her rapier and with a very quick swipe cuts at the back of one of his knees, finding a slight gap in his armor, and he reflexly tries to remove out of the way, and she causes him to trip. So he is now prone. As he falls, she does another rapid swing of her rapier and sends his weapon flying. So he is now lying flat on his stomach in front of you, Mug, without a weapon.
Well, look where you got down below me.
So
Do you yield or do you go? Do you want to fight me again or are you done?
ooh, so can I get you to roll?
Is it intimidation
Yeah, I'll get you to
or,
use a
or
control.
persuasion?
I'll say intimidation. You're trying to intimidate him to surrender.
Oh yeah, that's true. So that's and I get some extra stuff from it because I have a focus.
Yes, you do get a +2 if you've got a focus in it.
Do you add anything normally to it?
Uh,
Or is it just a straight 3 dice?
it's your 3 dice plus your communication plus your focus.
Oh, I think my communication is 0.
Quickly.
Yeah, communication is 0, but that's fine. I communicated the threat.
That you did.
Enough.
So you.
That's 14. 14 points.
And that is more than enough. You hear a grunting, wheezing from below you that says, "Yield."
Good
Blast it
choice.
all, I yield.
We can fight another day.
And with that, you look around and realize that all the fighting is over on the deck. Anyone left is surrendered or bleeding.
Or both.
That was quick. Like it's like, well, I will let the clever people sort out the negotiate, the talking.
So, taking stock, there are a lot of injured amongst your crew.
I don't want to spoil anything, but it's like 20 minutes past midnight here.
No
So
problem.
we might have to wrap up in a bit.
That's right. I was going to get to that.
Oh, sorry.
All good, because we should be calling it a night.
Yeah, but tomorrow is a holiday here, so.
Yep. All
Not
good.
here.
It's
All good. So, looking around, you realize that the fighting has come to an end. There are many injured amongst your crew. There are a couple of prisoners still amongst the others. Bhajiri is shouting orders for those that are still capable of fighting to reboard the Cirrus, and for prisoners to be bundled below decks. And we will leave it there for now. You have successfully captured yourself a frigate.
Yeah. Upgrade.
So give yourselves a congratulatory yo-ho, and we will begin again next session.
Yo-ho!